This episode of Real Garbage is brought to you by Spring. It's here!
This episode is brought to you by Four-Way Stops.
Graphic t-shirts.
Brought to you by SPF.
Brought to you by The Sun.
Shit Old People Say Part 2.
Feeding edibles to the elderly.
This episode of Real Garbage is brought to you by the paintings up in Jeff's home.
Coffee.
Crocs.
Socks and sandals.
This episode is brought to you by Chinese food. Brought to you by heartburn. Thanks, Chinese food.
This episode's also brought to you by marijuana.
Braces. Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Always sounding your best when you're singing in the car shower, and then sounding awful when you're out of it.
The car shower?
Car, shower.
Smooth jazz. Online dating. More desolate than the streets of Detroit in RoboCop.
This episode is also brought to you by online dating. I found my person.
Oh, shut the fuck up. This episode of Real Garbage is brought to you by Spoiler Alerts! Woo! Sober October.
Road rage.
Bin 4's onion rings. They're like little deep fried halos or God's cock ring.
Laughter. It's the best medicine.
Cryogenic freezing in movies. Demolition Man did it right, and every other movie did it wrong. The no fancy shit coffee truck.
This episode is also brought to you by the fact that it's Christmas time everywhere already, and we're a week into November.
Homemade ramen.
Brought to you by the second most superior pop, root beer. The most superior is Dr. Pepper.
Whoa. My mom's homemade hash brown casserole. I'm really missing it right now.
Rum and eggnog with a little bit of nutmeg sprinkled on top.
Ba-ba-dee-da-da-da-do.
Robert Goulet.
That's why I come up here. Acapella Christmas music.
Hold, please.
Brought to you by Yawns.
This episode is brought to you by being so tired, I don't know if I could drive home.
Joe's Automotive and Nail Salon.
Very weird, random weather patterns.
The Sun. Like your dad, it just went out for a pack of smokes a while ago.
Getting addicted to games. I'm currently addicted to playing solitaire.
What are you, 70? This episode of Real Garbage is also brought to you by Breathing. LSD.
Brought to you by the pepperoni I've been eating the whole time that was in my car for a week.
Making up your own cocktails.
My stinky feet, Jesus Christ.
Buying yourself a Switch for your birthday and making quarantine a hell of a lot easier.
The Tiger King.
Hot wings.
Binging Battlestar Galactica in less than 3 weeks.
DIY face masks.
Disinfectants. In the mind of the president, curing the coronavirus from now on.
Brought to you by dope movie soundtracks.
Quarantine fashion.
Putting a little paint on that old barn.
Pulling a fast one on your teacher.
Rickrolling yourself in your car.
Fake news.
This episode of Real Garbage is brought to you by music.
The Trollolololo guy. 90s fashion.
90s music.
The apocalypse.
Bringing disco back. Beef jerky.
Brought to you by Breakfast for Dinner.
Local talent.
Poorly chosen pizza toppings.
Maskne.
Telepathy. Listen, I know what you're thinking.
This episode is brought to you by a Fast and the Furious-esque weekend.
Cardigans. The sophisticated person's sweatshirt.
Jeff's homemade iced tea. Vacations.
I want one!
The unbreakable Nintendo Entertainment System controller.
Police officers tailgating you.
Cats. Nature's assholes. But we love them so much. We do.
Those songs that just put you in a good mood.
Gum. Spit it out.
A well-deserved drink after a long day.
Cannolis. Hey, forget about it, huh?
Macarons.
Blood. It's in you to give. Unless you're an alien, then it's probably not a good idea.
That hydrated feeling. Family heirlooms.
Disc golf.
Brought to you by guys with open shirts in the 90s.
Cocaine. The lost art of common sense.
Spooky songs.
Vitamin D.